Hey everybody, welcome to the Herd Fit podcast with Dr. Sam Rhee and myself, Coach David Syvertsen. This podcast is aimed at helping anyone and everyone looking to enhance their healthy lifestyle through fitness, nutrition, and most importantly, mindset. All right, welcome back to the Herd Fit podcast, guys. It is Coach Dave here with Coach Sam, and we have a very, very, very special guest. When Sam and I made a list of guests that we wanted to have on, Courtney, I think, was on the top 3, maybe even top 2.
Oh my God.
All right, so who's the top 1? You'll never know. But yeah, this is Courtney Roselle. Courtney, say hi.
Hi, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. We're definitely going to get into the nitty gritty with you, but I just want to introduce how I know Courtney. And Courtney is, I first met Courtney, I want to say in 2015, 2016, back when you were with Brazen.
Yes.
Is that right around the time that you started?
Yeah, because I think I was like a judge for you guys the first time I met you.
Yep. Yeah, so we knew each other through the CrossFit space. Yeah. She's gone in a few different directions, but she's still very much involved in the CrossFit space and just personal training space, which we'll definitely get into. But Courtney, without getting too deep, because we'll probably touch on a lot of these throughout the podcast, but just give us a little introduction about yourself, 1 paragraph.
Oh my God, only 1 paragraph. Number one, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored. I'm top 3.
All right.
I'm so excited. But my name is Courtney Roselle. I'm in the CrossFit community almost close to 10 years. So it's crazy. I started at Brazen Athletics in Fairfield under Jason Schroeder and Christy Link. And I've been in this CrossFit space for so long. I've been coaching for almost 6 to 7 years. And I don't know, it's been crazy road. I don't know how much you want me to go into explanation because I don't know how much questions you guys have in the background.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, but started in the corporate world working, end up being a coach, end up developing my own company full-time, Iron Grace. And it kind of snowballed from there. My career, fitness modeling, end up being on the Titan Games. Again, I know we'll get into that. So,
hell yeah.
But just here to inspire others, definitely find their inner strength, especially women empowerment. Everybody knows I'm very, very much about that because it made me a better human being in the CrossFit community and making me a stronger woman, hoping to pass back to the younger generations and my generation. So
yeah, that's awesome.
You made it to the regional games, didn't you?
No, I never made it to regionals.
Oh, okay.
I actually became competitive the year, I was in CrossFit, I would say 2 to 3 years before I became competitive. And the last year of regionals that's when I became competitive. Yeah, Anthony Vasquez, I believe, was the last year, and he was our coach. So I was so utterly upset when they canceled regionals. So I was like, this is it, I'm going to do it. And then I was like, nope, never mind.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's been a tough thing about being an athlete within CrossFit. They've changed the format so many times in the past, I'd say 5 to 6 years. And even now, to this day, it's still changing. But before we get into that and Iron Grace and the Titan Games especially, was there something that happened that made you want to go from corporate world to fitness coaching and making that a full-time endeavor?
Yeah, so I'm the black sheep in my family.
Same.
So I am the youngest of 4 brothers and a sister.
Okay.
And they all kind of just followed the world of the corporate world. And my mom grew up she raised me, as a single mom, and she had to just have jobs to support us. Mm-hmm. And I just was lucky enough to all I want to do was be happy. Yeah. And that's it. I'm not kidding. All I want to do is be happy. Again, I grew up in a world where you just had to do what you had to do to put food on the table and money in the bank. And again, I was so appreciative of it. I never knew what line of the economy, or I would say social status I grew up. I was in the middle class or whatever it was. My mom just made me happy. And so I was given the opportunity that if I could do what I love and make money from it and just be happy, I wanted to do it. And I was just very, very blessed with that.
At what point did you make that turn? Was that just immediately post-college?
So post-college, no. So post-college, I was 22. I would say I was in the corporate world. So I went from working in mortgages, which is actually the best job I ever had because I swear they taught me stuff they just should teach you in college, how to raise a credit score, how to read credit reports, how to balance a checkbook, things like that they should teach in college. And it taught me organization. So it was the best first job I ever had, I swear. So I did that for about 3 years. And then I ended up getting a job through the Jersey Devils. And everybody's like, oh my God, you're finally in sports. This is it. Yeah. You're living the dream. And I still was not happy at all. It was a really cool job. I had a lot of perks. But then when I discovered the CrossFit arena and just doing what I love in fitness and giving back, especially giving back, you can't put a dollar sign on that.
True.
And I would say I was 28 when I decided to start Iron Grace. in my own company, and now I'm 32. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's touch on Iron Grace, because you were a CrossFit coach for a while, and I can say it so that you're not uncomfortable saying it, but you were, in my opinion, in this area, a very well-known coach. Like when you showed up to, when Brayson showed up to CrossFit competitions, we always knew. You had Jay and Court, who were always just physically stood out because you guys are both tall, loud, and
everybody always said I was his mini me of like a woman. So yeah, I just didn't have tattoos down my neck, but that's it.
Not yet. So and you were a huge part of that place. And what caused you to want to go that extra mile and kind of put your own spin on it and create Iron Grace? So what spurred that, and give us a little bit more detail into what Iron Grace is.
So yeah, when I started Iron Grace, number one, what drove me was nobody said I could do it.
Okay, good.
They were like, you're going to fail. You have no health benefits. You have no 401k. You're going to give up your corporate life. And I was like, just watch what I do. So actually, Jay was my mentor at the time, and he totally pushed me to build my own brand. He was like, listen, like, you're not just a regular human being. You're not just a regular woman. You stand out. You have a presence. You're strong. You're exactly who you are. Like, if you make a brand, I think people will follow it. So we ended up coming up with names, and he was like, what do you love about basketball and what do you love about yourself? And I said, I'm a very feminine tomboy. Very. Like, again, I grew up with 4 brothers. So like the reason I went down the CrossFit space or sports was because I wanted to be like girly girl and wear dresses, but also I wanted to be athletic, and I never fit in a crowd. So the boys like loved me because I was the best in dodgeball, but then like the girls didn't want to accept me because I was with the boys, like, you know, and I grew up with like a bowl haircut and buck teeth and like a unibrow. So again, I was a very, very feminine tomboy. So Jay was like, you know, what do you love about yourself and what do you love about basketball? I was like, you have to be strong and you have to be graceful to be in the sport. And I think that in CrossFit too. You know, you have to be strong, but you have to be very graceful to do a clean and jerk or a snatch. And so he was like, and I was like, iron, barbell. And he was like, okay. And he was like, Grace, you have to be graceful. And I kind of just like went with the flow with that. And the same with basketball. Like, I have to be super strong, but you have to be so swift and so accurate and so coordinated to have a basketball. And I went to college for basketball. I don't know if I said that. So that's literally how we developed the name. And it literally just blew up from there. It was unbelievable.
Before you got here, not planned, 15 minutes ago, Sam and I Sam just spent a weekend down at Duke at like a basketball type.
It was a fantasy basketball camp for old people.
For old people?
Yeah, 35 and up only.
And Sam is incredibly fit, incredibly healthy, and he goes down there and it says there's so much skill in basketball that you just don't appreciate watching the game. Obviously, you see the obvious like shooting and dribbling and passing, but just like knowing where to go, what to do with your arms, you have to be graceful. And he said that as fit and as skilled as he is within CrossFit, it doesn't always carry over into basketball. There's a certain amount of level of grace and just body awareness that you need that you just don't get.
Yeah, and I think like I wish I had CrossFit when I was younger, because I feel like I would be a beast in basketball now. But like, even so, like if you take people out of sport specific worlds, like they're not going to be the best CrossFitter either.
Absolutely.
It's like unbelievable. And again, I work in 3 different gyms now, and 2 of them are more Globo Gym-esque types. And I would say CrossFit is still the 1% in this world. And I think because I'm, you know, so spoiled, I'm like, everybody knows what CrossFit is now, right? Nope, they have no idea. They think I'm an absolute beast. They think I'm like out of the box crazy. And to me, I'm just like an average human in my world. So like, it's still nuts, but yes.
I think that's true. I think when you are in other environments as a CrossFitter, you do stand out, you do look different, you do have a different mentality. And when I was down there, I didn't know anything about basketball, but they did know I was fit. The only problem is that in basketball, you have to work with a team. You have to know your spacing. You know how to switch on ball screens. You have to know where to keep your arms. You have to know where to move. And all of those skills, they're little skills, like where do you position yourself for a rebound? These are all things that I never really understood, never having played basketball. And then you go into it. But I will tell you that my other takeaway was, as CrossFitters, we are, like, strength training in general is helpful for everybody. And I feel like if athletes in other sports actually did CrossFit the way you're training others to do CrossFit or strength makes such a big difference.
Yeah, so I recently just got the opportunity, and I took it this week, that I'm going to be the head strength and conditioning coach for the Montclair State boys basketball team.
Wow, really? Awesome.
Yeah, so like it's also great too, because in my CrossFit arena, and I always say this, like no one walks in, I don't walk into a room and they're like, you're strong for a woman. They're just like, yo, she's strong. So, and it gave me such, confidence that like, I'm going to coach a boys basketball team. And let me tell you, they treat me with like the most respect. They're not like, oh, she's strong for a girl. Like, nah, I have a 405 deadlift. So like, thanks.
Which is more than you.
So like, you know what I mean? But, coming from the basketball arena, like you always had a job. This was like the crazy going from basketball to CrossFit. You always had a job, right? So I was like the strong, powerful athlete. I was a defensive person. I wasn't the scorer on the team. So coming into the CrossFit arena, it was more of an individualized sport. Mm-hmm. And I was not used to that. You had to be good at everything. Mm-hmm. Jay actually was the one who was like, you need to develop yourself as an athlete first individually for you to be good at what you want to do. And that's why I ended up going to he forced me to do Wadapalooza on my own. I did not want to do Wadapalooza on my own.
I remember that.
And he was like, you're going to do Wadapalooza on your own, because I wanted to go team. I'm used to team. I love team everything. And he was like, you're going to do this on your own. You're going to do certain things so that you can be a better team player. And he made me do that. And it made me also discover myself of like, training by yourself is hard. And Dave, I know you know this. Like, that's a whole different mental ball game. Physically, I could do anything on my own, but mentally, like training in an empty gym is unbelievable how much mental strength it takes.
Especially you come from, similar to Bison, Brazen, in my opinion, is like you guys are very just intense, and you love to get after it together. And that's part of what makes Brazen, or what has made Brazen. What makes you is the fact that you guys go at it so hard and you're passionate about doing it with each other. But there are certain circumstances in life that it's just not there. You have to do it by yourself. Yeah, like now I train about 85% by myself, unless I'm training with a class. Okay. You know what I mean? Right. So it's just like, but it made me a stronger athlete, a better human, made me stand on my own without a team behind me. So yeah, everything that I'm hearing right now, like I love hearing like this just little nuggets about what's created, you and the confidence that you have in yourself, and how. Tell us more about Iron Grace and what you want it to be, what it is. Is it personal training? Is it programming? Is it, what exactly do you offer? An umbrella of things. Yeah, right. So I have a never-ending road for my Iron Grace brand and like different umbrellas. So like right now I have Strong that's underneath it, and that's a strength program that involves bodybuilding, powerlifting, Ole lifting, CrossFit, but it's very, very strength-based, and I have it in the area at Excel Sports and Fitness. Cool. So I have that right now. I do fitness modeling. I do motivational speaking. I do personal training, which became huge after the Titan Games was aired. But I want it to be a plethora of things, because also right now a job to work with a foundation for women who suffered from the COVID pandemic and like lost everything they had. So I'm with them right now doing motivational and peer mentoring. Like I swear I have a plethora of things underneath it, but my main focus and motto and everything I ever want to give back is to find the strongest version of yourself and give back. And that's all I ever want to do. So if that's through me being in magazines and the way I look and little girls looking at me and making sure that they're strong so they can lead into a community, or my motivational speaking, whatever it is, my tagline is be strong, live confident. So that's all I want to give across. So I'm still trying to have many different directions in it.
Obviously, women in fitness is a huge focus for you. And it's very personal. I've read a lot of your Instagram posts where you grew up and you had a lot of difficulties with others saying really awful things. Yeah. And
even in my adult life, which is crazy. Right. Unbelievable. And it's crazy the messages I still get, and like weird calls, and it's wild. Let's just say that.
So as a model and as a mentor, what is it that you have found has changed as you've been seeing society and people around you? Has it been getting better? Have you seen people responding?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that people need to take away of is just being authentic to yourself. I dye my hair red. I walk into it like I do not apologize for who I am ever. And for me being that and becoming more obtained to that, I guess you can say, I attract people that are just like me. So that, to me, having those people surround me in times of weakness is exactly what I needed. I always tell people I'm not just strong, but I was also the weakest person in the room at one time. So if you don't know what weak is, you have no idea what strong is. absolutely do not. So if I'm upset or I'm emotional or whatever it is, I have very, very strong people around me that kind of bring me back to my center, but I'm just authentic at the end of the day. That's it. That's all anybody wants to be, is just themselves. And people are really trying to find it. And for me to tell my story at the end of the day, it gives people other power to be who they are. So hopefully that gives back, but it is getting better. I still have some haters on the other end. I would say that.
You know what? I'll say the more haters you have, that means the more popular you're getting.
Yeah,
and I've always thought that if, especially in this internet tough guy phase phase of life where people can say whatever they want over their phone or computer and hide behind it, you know. And I hope that doesn't get to you, because I always say the more negative attention you get, the better you are at what you're trying to do.
One of my favorite quotes in life is, if you give it the power to feed you, give it the power to starve you. So I won't give you the power to have anything over me, because then you starve me, and that will never, ever, ever, ever happen.
You've done too much. You've worked too hard.
Yeah, and I know at the end of the day, everything I do, like, I'm okay with myself at the end of the day, and I hope I give back positivity in the room all the time. And that's all I care about. So everybody else who has something to say.
So now, do you have a specific, like, if you had to pick one direction on a micro level, like right now you talked about macro level, like what you want Iron Grace to be. Micro level, is there something, because right now, like, and I not sympathize with you, but I can relate to you that you get pulled in a lot of different directions because you're trying to do kind of like this big picture thing. Is there one avenue that you really want to steer yourself towards?
Yeah, this motivational speaking and stuff like that. Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. I love relating to people. I love from talking on podcasts like this to like the Girl Scout troops in Hoboken. Like they're the cutest little thing. Yeah, I did like even a lot of Zoom calls with like different girl groups and like motivational speaking and positivity. So if I could kind of do this, and again, like, I don't necessarily get paid big bucks for this or anything like that. Not yet. You never know. But it just means the world to me. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think a true impact, like really to define impact, right, is not you saying something and making somebody else happy. It's you saying something and then that person goes and makes somebody else happy from what they've learned from you. Yeah. And I think that's something that you can't put a dollar sign on, right? Like you're not always going to get a paycheck for helping somebody out, but that person that you helped out might be helping someone else out. And then it's just like that's a true impact. And I think, you know, from my perspective, I think you're doing that. Thank you. And I think that you should be really happy about that. And, you know, just keep it going, because I think in time, and I think this is becoming more and more common, there's more podcasts than ever now, and it's still an industry that's still growing.
Yes.
That I think the way of the future, the communication wise, is going to be through avenues like this. And you're still so much at the beginning stage of Iron Grace that I think if you continue, just keep your foot on the gas, and even when times, you know, get tough or you kind of start to doubt yourself a little bit, you know, all it takes is for you to, like, you know, it could be one episode like this or someone else, or you impact one person where it really explodes into something. And I think that just shows the true dedication that you have behind the product. Yeah. No,
awesome. I always say, like, one of my favorite quotes is by Tupac. He said he might not change the world, but he's going to spark somebody's mind who could. Yeah. And that's exactly what I want to live by. Yep. And again, like, I just need to stress to people, like, you just need to be yourself and be authentic as you can, because you're going to attract someone who's like is going to feed off of you and change their world. And I hope everybody really does that at the end of the day. So.
And now gearing this more towards women, because Sam and I obviously have limited credibility on this
women's perspective.
Yeah, from a women's perspective. But I do want to say, I think Sam and I are very open and conscious of how much women in CrossFit have changed the outlook of women in fitness over the past decade. I really think, and we've said this on this podcast before, I think women have changed fitness more than any group of people have ever changed fitness ever. Yeah. And just because of showing what they can do with their bodies, how attractive they can look while doing so, where, you know, 20 years ago, it used to be like, women aren't allowed to lift. They have to be small and dainty. You know, can you touch on that a little bit and just give us some of your words on how much women in CrossFit and women in lifting and strength have changed the outlook on what women can and should be doing when it comes to working out?
Yeah, so about, oh my God, was this like 3 or 4 years ago? Carl Paoli was on a podcast and someone asked him how women are going to change the CrossFit arena, and his answer was so perfect. And sorry for the men, but he said, women, they're not going to say that women are strong. They're going to end up being that women are going to make more impact than men in the CrossFit arena. And no offense or anything.
I kind of agree.
For the first time, and again, maybe because I'm spoiled and I swear the CrossFit world is the 1%, but I walk into a gym, into like a Globo gym, and these women, how they look because aesthetically, because of bodybuilding and stuff like that. But in the day, I'm like really badass and I feel super confident because of the things I can do and not how I look.
Right.
And women are getting more empowered by, wow, I can't believe I can do these things, and not, again, how they look when they walk into a room. And to me, women are just so mentally strong. I mean, you guys know we have babies and everything like that. You know what I mean?
Tougher than us.
We're pretty tough. So to match our physical and our mental, kind of just like, boom. It just brought out the boom. And like, again, even at the CrossFit Games, like you see the stadiums. I mean, Wadapalooza, we've been to Wadapalooza, Asbury Park. I've been at Granite Games, and our stadiums are just as packed as the men competing.
Absolutely. Maybe more.
Yeah. Like everybody's like Tia Toomey, you know, well, blah, blah, blah. I'm like the 20th heat behind them, but like, you know what I mean? But like our stadiums are just as packed.
Yeah.
Our prize money is just as much as theirs. Yep. So it's so crazy going into other arenas. Like, I met a lot of people at the Titan Games who are in the powerlifting arena and the strongman arena and the Olympic, and they're still off. Like their prize monies are still off, or they have more crowds with the men. I'm like, no, not in the CrossFit arena. We're not like that at all. Yep. So I'm really, really blessed that this is the main fitness arena I grew up in, I would say. But I think it just gave the power to match our mental or physical, and then you guys are screwed.
Well, it's funny because we have 11 coaches now at Bison, and 4 of them are women. And I think that we were, you know, this isn't anything close to being confirmed yet, but we'll probably be adding another one within the next year. And I've noticed, and I'm very just observant of how our all of our coaches are awesome, by the way. And I'm just very observant of how different the class responds to the women coaches as opposed to the men. And I've noticed in time, it seems like there's a lot more concentration when the women are up there coaching, because there's a little bit more like, this is different. This is new. Members that have been here for 4 or 5 years, they're used to them. They're used to Liz and Terry and Ash and Kay, right? But like, you know, some of our newer members, I can tell they've never had a female trainer or female coach before. And you just watch them. There's like a certain level of intrigue from them. Yeah. And after a while, it's like, wow, this is actually more than legitimate. This is actually in some cases better, because women are naturally better communicators.
Oh,
you know?
Thanks. Yeah. Well, I will say, like, again, I coach at a gym underneath a guy. His name is Freddie. Yep. He owns Excel Sports and Fitness and Excel Athletic Lifestyle in Hoboken. Cool. And he literally said, he's like, when you walk into a room, so women are always like, oh my God, are you scared to look bulky and muscular? I was like, well, my business owner who met me at first, he's like, you walked into a room and he was like, I know this girl means business because of just how I looked. And he's like, and you're disciplined and holding your shoulders high, and like, you didn't give crap that I was a man that you were meeting with, and I was meeting with all men. And he was like, and you carried yourself in the room. And I'm very, very blessed. It's because I grew up in the CrossFit arena. Right. I'm telling you right now, that's exactly it. And he was like, and that's why women are just like, oh, are you scared to have muscles? Like, no, because guys know I mean business, or women know I mean business whenever I walk into a room. So
I think a lot of success in life comes from projecting who you are. And the fact that you've started a business based on who you are, it actually reminds me a little bit of, the person who ran the Titan Games, The Rock. Like, when you look at his persona, his personality, and what he builds, it's on him and it's what he projects. And if you have more women who feel self-confident, who can project that, you're a great role model for that. You rely on yourself to project that success, which leads to success. And that sort of is a long roundabout way to say, so you probably got a huge kick up from the exposure you got on the Titan Games.
Yeah, so when the Titan Games aired and everything, the reason The Rock picked me, because he handpicks every contestant that goes in, was number one, because of what I portrayed to women, and he's a huge girl dad, huge. So he's like, I want my daughters to watch this girl compete. Number two, he said this, so I love The Rock, and they did an interview saying, why do you love The Rock? And I said, he defines his path. He doesn't let the path define him. Right. So again, I said to him in the interviews, not to him, into a camera, he saw the camera, but I said, you know, I'm going to make sure that I define my path, and the path does not define me. So when I went into the Titan Games, I just basically was like, listen, I know you producers can portray however you want. Just please make sure you get my story out. And they portrayed it so perfectly. And I was so happy how everything came out. And winning on top of it, Titan of the East was like that icing on the cake. You know what I mean? Like when I went, I was like, oh my God, I just won Titan of the East when it happened. But again, I just wanted my story to be an impact. And I had... my first day I debuted, I had over 320 DMs.
Oh, wow.
I answered. It took me a whole week, and then there was emails, but like 320 DMs, and most of them were from parents of little girls, you know, or young women that were just like, I can't believe you did it. And it was really, really cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'd love to talk more about the Titan Games. Like what process... How did you get involved in it? What was the first step?
Okay, so this is the crazy roundabout world it is. So failure always brings you on a path of success of where you're exactly supposed to be. 100%. So a little bit of a backstory of me. Again, I grew up as a feminine tomboy. And I went into modeling when I was like 11 or 12 because I was such a tomboy and I needed to define my girly side. And I was like, I'm going to go into modeling because everybody's telling me I should, and I'm 5'9" at the age of like 5. So I went into the modeling world, and the first thing they said, again, I was like 11 or 12 at the time, was, you're never going to be a model. You're too big, you're too athletic, and you are like a boy. So I was like, whatever, I'm going to go into sports. I ended up excelling in sports. I ended up going to the CrossFit arena, excelling in that. So I ended up trying the modeling world again at my 20s. So I was 25 and I was like out of my awkward stage, and I was like, I'm ready to do this. No one's going to tell me who I am. No one's going to tell me I'm a plus size or too athletic. And I sent like $250 worth of like packages to 22 different modeling agencies, and every single one of them was like, absolutely not.
Really?
Absolutely not.
Wow.
And to one point, that one modeling agency brought me in physically into New York City and said, no little girl's going to want to flip the page and look like you.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah. So like they made sure to tell me that in person, and I was like, and I walked out there and I was like, whatever. Thank God at the time, again, I was in CrossFit.
Yeah.
And my brother was waiting downstairs. He's like, how'd it go? And I was like, not good. No one wants to look like me. So
wow.
And a couple months later, my mom goes to the U.S. Open. I swear this is all a roundabout story, and it works out. He goes to the U.S. Open and sits next to the editor of Vogue, the assistant editor. And my mom had a couple cocktails in her. And the woman was like, I'm here to book fitness people in magazines. And she was like, my daughter's a fitness model. She's like, let me take a look at her. And she saw my picture and she was like, wait, that's your daughter? I don't have a fitness model who's fit and does modeling. If that makes sense.
Yes.
That's the world we live in.
There are models that pretend to do fitness.
Yeah, she was like, I'm like, what? So that week, I was like, no way this woman's ever going to call me. Thanks, Mom. She calls me a week later, Jill Delming, and she brought me into a room with Shape Magazine, Self Magazine, Vogue, and she's like, tell me your story. And I told the backstory of like fitness modeling and how no one is going to look like me. And she was like, oh my God, Shape Magazine booked me on the spot.
Nice.
Right then and there. And Self Magazine was like, I've been waiting for you.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for your story. And she was like, what makes you different than every other fitness model who's trying to be a fitness model? I said, who said I was trying to be a fitness model? I'm just trying to change the world.
Yeah.
Of someone who's trying to look like me and be in the fitness model industry. Again, I'm not trying to pave the path I'm trying to pave my own path, and hopefully everybody jumps on. Mm-hmm. So they were like, let me book you. And then a month later, Vogue Magazine called me because a boxer dropped out of a shoot last minute. She ended up having a health issue. And Jill was like, I have no model who looks fit like you. Please come down to Brooklyn right now. And then I was on page 68, 69 of Vogue Magazine, a whole spread about me.
Wow.
That is
and she was like, literally, because you look the way you do, and I have nobody that looks like that.
Mm. Yeah.
And then it just like snowballed effect that WWE divas reached out to me and was like, they heard about my story. Let me see if we work in the diva world. That did not work out, but girls from the Titan Games were there. And they're like, can I just tell the Titan Games producers about you? Because I really want to get your story out, and you're just so positive and so nice. And I ended up getting out to the producers of that. They ended up getting back to me, went through like 7 interviews, and getting brought out to LA for a combine. Basically, they test you there for your physical fitness, but more of like your personality and the story you have to offer.
What were the physical fitness tests?
Yeah.
What were they?
Okay, so I ended up doing really damn well. One of them was a 3-minute dead hang. Me and Danny Spiegel went back to back.
Nice.
Me and her. The one I ended up tying with Danny was max deadlift, and I maxed my deadlift at 405.
Wow.
Sweet.
And she was like, what's your previous deadlift? And I was like, 375.
Wow.
And you only had 4 tries. and I hardly warmed up.
It was like, wow, real warm up either.
No, they don't give you warm up. They're like, here's like a 20-pound dumbbell. I was doing like RDLs with it. I was like, please don't break my back. And they're like, listen, don't go all out. And I was like, no, you can't tell me not to go all out.
Right.
Like, do you know who I am? 100-meter dash. What else? Like, they were testing you more. They weren't even testing you physically. Truthfully, they were putting you through these physical tasks and then putting a camera on you and seeing how you answered.
Right.
That's what they were doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they were like, how can she answer on a camera and tell a story and still be presentable and like your message that you give across after you do a physical fitness
right.
endeavor. So ended up being like, I would say 2 weeks later, I was actually with Jay in the gym and the guy calls me and the producer's like, listen, I have to tell you something. I just don't know if this is going to work out. And he's like, what? He was like, booking your flight to LA. And I was like, what? So then and then Jay walked in, I started crying. He was the first one that knew, and it kind of just took off from there. But it ended up being literally, this road was paved me since I was 11 years old.
Yeah.
Like that's why I was like, it's a really roundabout story. I'm sorry to go this way.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like every failure brings you to exactly where you're supposed to be.
I was gonna say,
Depends on how you react to that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because how many people would have gone to that trip that you went to the city and they said no girl's ever going to want to look like you? How many people at that moment would have been like, all right,
just giving up.
I'm out.
Just
like,
give up.
That's the sign from
It's
above.
crushing.
Yeah.
Absolutely crushing.
Yeah. That's as crushing as it gets. You know, for someone to look you in the eye and be like, you're like, there are thoughts in your head where like, I'll never make it. I'm not good enough. But when someone else comes to you and says, you're never good enough, you're never going to make it, that shuts a lot of people down. And I think that's one message you can give out there from that story. That's awesome.
Yeah. And again, like I always want to do stress to people, like, I know I'm a very positive person that walks into a room, but again, I probably cried the most tears in this room. So everyone wouldn't remember that. Like, you know, when I first started physical fitness trainer or whatever, the personal training route, like everybody was like, oh my God, you probably had no money, right? And I was like, no, I didn't. I was broke. I was broke. Like I didn't come off just being this successful trainer out of nowhere. I didn't come out being a successful model out of nowhere. Like I had more criticism than you would believe.
Yeah.
You know, like I was eating like the cup of noodles from like college trying to make this work, you know? So I always want to stress that this didn't come overnight. It was years and years and years in the making.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now back to the Titan Games. You won. Just in case, I mean, Ash and I remember this is during the pandemic that it aired, right? So we were like it was like one of the few things we were looking forward to.
It was the best thing that it aired during the pandemic because nobody else had anything to do.
Yes.
So we watched them all. We were like yelling at the TV, like, I know her. But you won the East.
Yes.
And then, what was the process just like day to day? Like, were you out there the whole time? And how much time were there between events and days?
Yeah, okay. So I was there for a month.
Okay.
And also it was really crazy because I couldn't tell anybody where I was besides like my bosses, my clients, and then like my family. But like I had to sign a contract, which was crazy, that if someone found out I was on the Titan Games, like let's say through social media, TMZ, that I had to pay $1 million fine.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it was signed by The Rock. So
wow.
I was like, I can't tell anybody where I was. So everybody thought I left and just moved to Atlanta for a month. But I was there for the entire month and it was crazier than you think. Like the clips show 30 minutes of my month that I was there.
Yeah.
I was there for an entire week alone doing every interview possible. And it was 8-hour days.
Wow. Wow.
And like, I couldn't leave. You couldn't leave. You had to get sized for your wardrobe. You had to get approved by your wardrobe. You had to do interviews for 3 hours on end, skits, cameos. Like I'm talking 8 hours a day for an entire week.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. It's very, very exhausting. And then again, so when I came home from Titan Games a week later, I had to go to Wadapalooza. Not even a week. It was 3 days, I think.
You still were committed to go to Wadapalooza?
Yeah. I was like, what are these dates of if I make it to, they're like Valentine's Day. And I think Wadapalooza was like the 17th or 18th. I was like, cool. So I could still make Wadapalooza.
Yeah.
So I was still trained. Like, so I had to come home at like 9 o'clock at night and go to like a Globo gym and still train for Wadapalooza. Like I had to make it work.
Yeah. So you were able to train.
I was. I had a free gym membership, which was great.
Nice.
But it was like, if I wanted to go to another gym, like CrossFit gym, I had to take, an Uber somewhere late or early. Mind you, I had days off, which were great because then I had the whole day to train.
Right.
But when you were in the studio, that was like 8 to 12 hour days.
That's tough. Yeah.
And you had a schedule of like, let's say you had a 9 a.m. meeting, but TV is so off in hours that 9 a.m. meeting was at 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't never on time, ever. And especially because Titan Games, the first time it was aired was in LA.
Yeah.
So now we were aired in Atlanta because The Rock was also on the movie set in Atlanta. So he was doing double time. And what they said to us was, you go to The Rock doesn't come to you. So we ended up like so they basically started the Titan Games all over again. So that's why it was so delayed, because it wasn't in LA. They had to take everything from LA and start from scratch.
Yeah.
So it was like season 1 for them.
Got it.
So there was obstacles I was supposed to do that they had to cancel last minute and think of another obstacle because they didn't work. Because shipping didn't bring everything over, or something didn't work, like fire on everything. Yeah. Like it was smoky in the arena once. We had to cancel the day. Like it was all brand new for everybody.
Wow.
Yeah. And you had to like, every time I gave a hair, like an interview, I had to come out and get my hair and makeup done, which was awesome. But every time I moved on an obstacle, I had to come off, get my hair and makeup done. Like everything was so strategic of how everything went down. So yeah.
There were a lot of CrossFit athletes involved with the Titan Games, and it just goes to show like how, if you're trying to look for the world's fittest, you go to the CrossFit arena.
Yeah,
now,
that's absolutely it.
do you still maintain some of the relationships that you have? Because you were with some big time people out there.
I mean, it's a one-time experience that no one will understand for an entire month. We live in like a hotel in a college dorm. Yeah. And you can leave and do what you want, but you can't tell people what you're there for. Right. So like, think about like, it would say on an average, like 30 to 60 of us really fit people walking to a restaurant, and they're like, who the heck? What just walked up in here?
That's a crew.
Oh yeah, it's a crew and a half. So Alvarez, one of my really, really, really good friends, Matt Chan, an angel from above. So I'm trying to think of like CrossFit people. Kelly Stone, amazing. Every year I would say we try to plan 1 to 2 trips a year that we have a Titan Games reunion.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, from like Vegas to Nashville. I was supposed to go to actually Nashville maybe this weekend to meet up with some of them. But there is a strong crew of us. And again, it was like a one of a lifetime thing that no one would understand besides us. We're still on a group thread, all 60 of us. So it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Did any of them get turned on to CrossFit from the Titan Games?
They were scared of us.
Yeah. The one guy, I forget his name, but the one guy, he was like the Midwestern guy. It was one of the top guys. That shorter guy. He didn't look as fit as the other ones, but he was dominating.
Oh my God, yes, Will. Yeah,
Will.
My God, Will. Oh my God, country strong.
Ash and I were like, that guy would be a nasty CrossFitter if he got his shit together.
So he was great. Number one, nicest human alive. He had Southern charm, and I loved him so much. So Will was my East Coast Titan with me. Right. And he was actually a power lifter by sport, but how he got ready for the obstacle, especially Mount Olympus. So Mount Olympus, I would say the best is you do Fran 3 times in a row.
Okay.
That's the lungs you get. Mm-hmm. But if you were not a CrossFitter, you didn't know what Fran lung was. Mm-hmm. So they died. Mind you, I was like, guys, it's just Fran lung. Like, we could all suck it up. We could all get through this. And even Danny Spiegel's, Matt Chan was the best. He was like, guys, you got some Fran lung. Like, tough it up. But they got Fran lung and they were like slowly died. So Will would like do these crazy things before he got on Mount Olympus and get Fran lung a little bit.
Raise the heart rate.
So he would be ready for Mount Olympus because that's what he kind of saw us do.
Yep.
So from what I know, no one got turned on to CrossFit, but they definitely gave us like a lot of like, appeal and props for what we do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Because I was like, they were like, how can we not know the obstacles before? So I want to know this. We did not know the obstacles going into it. We knew it kind of, but you didn't know how much anything weighed. You couldn't touch it. You couldn't be on it. So everybody was like, how can we do this? I was like, let me tell you, this is what we get all the time. Like, I go into Waterpluff, you don't know the last event. You have to guess it. You don't know what anything weighs. Right. And they're like, just let you know, if you do 185 power cleans at like 185 pounds. I was like, cool, we're doing this. So I was used to that. Like, when I carried the ball and chain, it was like 220 pounds. Yeah. And everybody was like, holy crap. And I was like, no, you just pull it. You just do what you got to do at the end of the day, and you're ready for the unknown. And that's what we're trained for.
That's what fitness is,
That's what fitness is. And everybody's used to knowing what you're going into. And I'm like, no. I'm used to not knowing what I'm going into.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Was there any moments that were really scary for you or threw you for a huge loop, or you were like...
Yeah, I would say like being on national TV was a little bit nerve-wracking. Like I've been in front of crowds, you know what I mean? But knowing that national TV was on me was like nerve-wracking in general. But like the courses weren't scary for me. Like the physical course wasn't scary. I was just like, please don't make an ass out of myself on TV, please. That's all I thought about. I was like, even when I was carrying the ball, I was like, don't fall. Like, just, I was like blacking out, like as if I was on the CrossFit Games or whatever like that.
Right.
But I just was like, please don't make an ass out of yourself. But that's it.
Oh, you didn't. You did awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And again, I just was like, I would say CrossFit and being a strong CrossFitter is what made me go there. Like everybody else like ran marathons and stuff like that, but having strength as my base. And I would say Brazen definitely expresses strength as your base.
Yeah.
Kind of like catapulted me on the arena. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I think any competitive endeavor when it comes to fitness-related things, which I would consider Titan Games a fitness-related test. You know, there wasn't like a specific skill set. So it came down to fitness. That one thing that, you know, you could say Brazen prepared you for, CrossFit prepared you for, your background prepared you for, is how much your mental capacity will either help or dampen your ability to physically perform.
Oh, there's a lot of mental toughness involved in all of those tests.
Oh my God.
It's all mental toughness.
And again, like having, like, I was performing stuff in there's a camera like right here.
Oh, right.
Like in your face.
Wow.
And there's throughout Mount Olympus, there's a microphone on my back. So like at one point when I'm going through the cage, which was the worst thing ever, I hated that cage.
That looked tough.
No, it wasn't even just tough. I was just huge. So they were like, how do you feel about being the tallest girl here? I'm like, so used to it. Like, you know what I mean? So used to it. But my microphone got caught in the cage at one point and it like and I ripped it off. And it just happened, but I was like, sorry, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just like different things on my body at the time. And like, my hair was like in a ponytail in a certain way. I had to look a certain way. So it was just like something I wasn't ready for a little bit. But yeah, it was a really, really awesome experience. I would say that.
Yeah, that was cool. It was a blast to watch you.
Thank you.
What were the athletes' interactions with The Rock? Like, how did you guys interact with him? How much was there?
There was well, thank God I was there a lot because I became Titan of the East, so I had a lot of interaction with him. But the producers were like, please just treat him like a human. Don't go in there being like a fangirl. Because he just wants to be. If you ever interact with him, he's the most genuine soul and he's so funny. And he was like, the first time he met me, he's like, what's up, Jersey girl? And I was like, because his manager and ex-wife is from New Jersey. He's like, oh my God, when I come to Jersey, I was like, let me tell you something, Dwayne. If you come to New Jersey, you can't just walk into a gym with me. I have to give a heads up. Like I have to tell people about it because I will die. So he is the funniest human. He's so authentic, so genuine. And he wants you to just like be yourself. And he always, and I still keep in touch with him to this day. About like a week ago was a year since I became Titan of the East on the show. And I voice messaged him. I was like, thank you for everything you've done. And he always voice messages me back. That's like awesome. He still keeps in contact. And he's like, this is why I do what I do to change your life, to change other people's lives. So he has the same path.
Doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing. And he responds to my message at like 3 a.m.
Wow.
And I know he's working out in his backyard gym. So I know what he's doing, but he responds to every one of my messages.
That's awesome.
So he's so great. He's so great. And God, he's so handsome. I'm just going to say that too. All right, God.
I'm pretty sure that's the reason why my wife wanted to watch the Titan Games was The Rock first and you second.
He is huge. Like he's 6'5", 270 pounds. He made me feel like a baby when he hugged me. And I was like, God, you just smell so good. You're so handsome. But he was everything. I was like, every girl's gonna be so jealous. Yeah. But yeah, he's an awesome human. He really is.
That's awesome.
You know, I just saw your last head-to-head with Margot Alvarez. I rewatched that. And
yeah.
Like, that was pretty close, actually.
So people don't know this. We were up there for 15 minutes.
Really?
Oh my God. So yes, the poll was going back and forth for so long, and I'm known for my leg strength. She told me, and I'm so mad. She goes, Courtney, I only had about 30 seconds left in me. And I was like, dang it. You only had 30 seconds.
So if people didn't watch it, just to explain. So there are 2 rods that ginormous rods, like huge, that each of you had to pull out first.
Yes.
And then there was a golden rod in the middle, and Margot got to the golden rod just a little bit faster.
Because I screwed up, yeah.
And then you saved it, and you guys both sit there, and the video footage is only for maybe like a minute where you guys are going back and forth. But you guys were up there on the goldenrod for 15 minutes?
For 15 minutes.
Wow.
Oh my God. And it was my forearms that were about to fall off like a little panda. Like I was on it like a koala, and I was just like, oh my God. And it wasn't my legs that it hurt. I literally was like, my forearms are going to give out. And she's like, Courtney, if you didn't let go, I had about 30 seconds, not even left. And I was like, no.
Didn't want to know that.
I was like, no way. I was so mad. But if I was going to lose to anybody, I'll lose to Margot.
Yeah.
Like,
Margot, by the way, for those that don't know, is is a staple in the CrossFit Games community.
Yeah, she won that marathon row.
Yeah, very, very, very well-known CrossFit competitor.
And let me tell you, not only is she an amazing athlete, by far, but one of the nicest humans alive.
Oh, really?
She's one of my good friends. I still keep in. So after the Titan Games aired, she actually sent me a card to my house, handwritten, saying, like, I'm so thankful for your friendship.
Wow. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, Margaret, like, and everybody walks into the room, they're like, Margaret Alvarez, and she just is like, and she knows everybody's name. Mm-hmm. She always checks in on me to make sure I'm doing okay. Like, same with Matt Chan. Matt Chan is a competitor. Oh my Lord, that by nature.
A badass too.
He is like, he blacks out and he doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care if you're a friend. He's going to beat you.
Oh my God.
But not like douche type of, like, he's really nice.
Right.
Oh, that's what competition is.
Yeah, but he even told me, like, when he was in the CrossFit Games, who did Travis? Oh my God, he's a really good friend of mine, and I ripped him from an obstacle. They had to go up like a deck from a paddleboard. He's like, I ripped him off of it. I don't care who it was because I'm going to win over you. He does not care.
Yeah.
But again, like off scene, nicest.
Yep.
The nicest human.
2 different personalities.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
And his wife is great, and like, I can't even imagine, like, I'm so thankful to have her as friendship as well.
That's really cool.
Matt Chan still works as a firefighter.
Yes.
And I think Margot Alvarez is building her own brand. I think she has like a winery.
Yeah, Go Wine. And she sends me bottles of it. And I'm like, yes, best friendship. No. But like, again, both of them, great. Like, I can't say nice enough things about them.
Just hard workers that no matter what they go into, they do well.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, and like whether it's the Titan Games, whether it's CrossFit Games, whether it's their business. Matt Chan's a very well-known coach as well. It's, I think that's like how you do anything is how you do everything. And those guys are huge examples of that.
Yeah, like he is a coach at the end of the day. I do want to specify that. Like he helped me on Mount Olympus. So he's such a competitor athlete. So he would close his eyes and he's like, 3 steps to the ball, 4 steps for the hammer. If you just, like, he knew by step, by second, when he ran it once, how to go about Mount Olympus. And he was telling me details of like, Courtney, okay, so you're going to feel Fran lung around this point, push that. Like he knew every step and he helped me at the end of the day. And he would do it for anybody. It wasn't just me, but he's a coach at the end of the day.
He's a great follow on Instagram. Just like he just gives like some tips on coaching, on performing.
Yeah.
He's a very well-spoken
on
guy.
his birthday, he asked me to be his workout partner. He was like, Courtney, we're doing a partner. Well, can you be my partner? I was like, what?
Done.
I literally was like, absolutely. But like, you're going to smoke me. He was like, no, you're going to do great. Like he was great.
That's
he was
awesome.
So obviously he was like a little bit more fit than me, but it was fine. But like he was awesome. He was so
cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I mean, we can wrap this up, but I just want to make sure if there's anything else that you want to get out there, whether it be about Iron Grace, just any message that you want to throw to any women in particular.
Or where do you want to go from here now that you've achieved all these things at this point?
I know. Oh my Lord. So it's crazy, but I definitely want to do another CrossFit competition. I feel like I'm not done in the CrossFit arena just yet.
Really?
I know. Yeah, I do want to do something in the competition, but it's funny. I actually also want to do something in not the bodybuilding arena. I wouldn't say like bikini modeling, but there's something called wellness, a division with girls with like bigger legs and stuff like that. I want to do one strongman competition in my life: powerlifting, Ole lifting, CrossFit, and then wellness.
Wow.
So yeah, I just want to do it once.
Yeah.
Different fitness arenas. So that is my main goal right now. I'm actually trying to do something in the wellness arena. Cool. It's a new division in the bodybuilding arena. Again, that's for like women that are more muscular in their legs and stuff like that. So I'm trying to do that on top of, my personal training has kicked off like crazy, but awesome. I'm also really trying to do this like mentoring and speaking and stuff and focus on a foundation that just hired me to help out these women. So I always like to do something with passion and heart behind it, always. Awesome. And so we'll see what happens with this new fitness arena that I'm trying right now.
Cool.
How do people get a hold of you?
My Instagram, I always message Courtney Roselle or irongracefitness.com. You can catch me, irongracefitness at Gmail. Please catch me, but I have nobody respond for me besides me. So people are always asking if it's me behind it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not that cool. Like, I don't have a PR agent that's like, get back to you sooner or later. Like, guys, I was just on the Titan Games. Let's relax. But please reach out to me if you guys have any questions, opportunities, whatever you need. It's always me responding.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Court. We're behind you. I hope you know that. Bison, Sam, and I will do anything we can to help you. We love your message. We love your purpose and your passion. And we will have you back sometime.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to listen to the HERDFIT podcast. Be on the lookout for next week's episode.